Hey everybody, wanted to give you try to break things down a little bit more into smaller sections about the use of the tools, the system, how they all work together, and also some kind of misconceptions maybe in the title that I had it as far as this being a press. It's more of a base to a process and a system, and because it's used in different manners. One, it can be used as a press. In a lot of other instances and methods, it isn't used as a press. So I'm going to try to break those different uses down. First, I wanted to explain how it can be used as a press. Okay. A couple different ways. One is it's not even a press in the way people might assume, like as in a typical crutch or something that's been described in archaeology a long time ago, where it resembles a crutch. It's very large, has a bar that comes across. It's used under the shoulder. Pushed. Jim Fire Eagle had his that he called a press, and that was that went under the arm, and then it inverted the antler tine out to the front, which was chiseled, and he used it in this matter as a press, or I guess you could say maybe a crutch, I guess. But the word crutch came from the way that it looked, resembling what people had the archaeologists were familiar with, which was people had a crutch that held them up. It was long, cumbersome. This, in one way of using the press, I believe there's some physics involved in using your abdomen in a springing as a spring, a loaded spring. And if you look when I'll just take a piece here that's broken to demonstrate, and so if you're holding it like this, you put your thumb and you press against your abdomen. You're not pressing your abdomen out, you're just lightly pressing. This holds it on, pressed against here, holds it in place. But what it also does is it creates a little bit of a springed action when you take your thumb, put it on the tip. And if you know, and a lot of these times that you find these, the tips are kind of ground flat just a little bit. And I believe that's because it's more comfortable for putting your finger there. Plus, sometimes if you're using mule deer as antler, that has the real soft pith in the center. So your tool, and I show you can grind your tools easily. And I also question as to if some of the what are called cylinders or punches or drifts or whatever that are found in the archaeological record by vast numbers of antler. I use wood as well, which is very effective, hardwood. If maybe perhaps the arrow shaft tool that we're all seeing in the graves and everywhere as well, that are used for shafting your arrows, if perhaps it isn't also a nice convenient tool for truing up your antler inserts and pivots. Okay, so this one's antler here. I'll just true up the ends here a little bit, as they do get a little chewed up. Okay. So, put this in there. This is an insert because it's not a swivel. If it was like this, it would be a swivel. Okay, like this, and it's an insert. So this is the insert tool. Goes in, insert device here. So if I'm pressing like this, then it loads up, and I've noticed that even the position, I'm not really pushing my abdomen or pressing against this. This is pressing against my abdomen, creating a little bit of a spring. So since this rounded edge on the bottom is going to sit along the platform, and I'm just randomly, I'm not preparing platforms or anything, I'm just demonstrating for you. So you pick out an area you're gonna strike. It sits here. This is pushed back, and so when this is struck back here, if you strike it up here, it's going to have a different result. You use this for trimming flakes, and this is for long flakes, hitting it back here. So you hit it back here, and what happens is, as this is coming down, this is generating more energy because it's coming up on this, and then pow, as it comes forward, now you have the loaded spring action because your thumb is out of the way, and it pushes as well. And I believe that's one of the reasons you're able to generate nice, long, coast-to-coast flakes, is because you're able to go like this, and then that flake traveled, as you've probably seen, through my fingers and fell. And you can see I can capture this pushing like this, capture it like that. Now, there's another way. When you use your fingers, your flake isn't going to travel coast to coast. It's going to travel as far as it is if you have a flake that's in the air, unsupported, and that's where the channel came from. The channeling of on your like this here, I don't think you can see it, but like my log, the channels that are drove through there were to simulate having that in the air and that flake unobstructed. So in that instance, see if I can do one here with this. There's a piece I'm working on. And go ahead and prep up a section here. Change the insert because I'm wanting to get some wider flakes on this piece. So I'll put on this one that I've insert tool that I've made of antler, or I mean of buffalo. Antler works as well, but I'm really liking buffalo. It has a little bit more of a elasticity to it, and so you'll find that different materials and wood I can demonstrate to you how effective wood is as well, and I will later on. But the other thing is if you look in the archaeological record at all of these cylinders and everything, you'll also see in there maybe some flat pieces of antler that look like it was held in the hand. They're not this wide, but held in the hand like this, and then it has a tip on the end that's round, very cylinder, and then it looks like that on the end, and you'll notice compression around it where you can tell it looks like it's been put into this. And so the tool, what they speculated was used one way, I believe was used totally the opposite way. The knife end was the end that was used, and it was put in what was discovered with it, a arrow shaft straightener or wrench. So at any rate, let's go ahead and do this here, demonstrate for you. So I'll try taking off a flake across here. So in this regard of the press, in a longer pieces, you'll hold your hand like this, Okay, try to show you here. So you're going to put the platform, you're going to strike right along here. You're going to take the side of your finger, lost my platform I prepared, and you're going to then push with that. Now this under here is just snugly against it, but it isn't pushing this into it. Your thumb is loading the spring action here. And then you can take a baton to strike, and I'm leaning more towards the belief that the batons that have been discovered weren't for billet action, or the billets that we're swinging today weren't used in that manner. They were used as secondary striking. And so now my fingers are held like this. I call the monkey grip. So they're monkey gripped in the back. I get that term from music, don't monkey grip your guitar. So like this, okay, and then the thumb is just slid over. So now the flake is allowed to travel and expand all the way across through the midsection. So put this here. Oh, this one I've lost, like I said, lost my one I was prepping. And pow, I don't know if you've seen the just ran right down through there. And there was the blow through there. It didn't quite travel through the mid section like I wanted, but then again I wasn't taking a lot of time prepping it. So we will come on over here. Try doing the same thing over here. This time I've got my eye on it. So side of the thumb, and again you're switching depending on what side you're working. You're switching the way you hold it just a little bit, and you'll get that figured out. So you use the side of your thumb or along the whole line down there for pressing against the top, and bada boom bada bing. Let's see if I can show you here. Here's where the flake was. The camera can't very well see. And it traveled all the way over to here. So that's an example of that. Now the other way, I'll go ahead and leave this on, is if you're using this, oh gosh, when I would biface with my batons, I would use my leg as part of an angle, so I could adjust raising it or lowering it to get the different angles I wanted. If you're going to do, here's just a piece, if you're going to do bifacing, like what you would consider bifacing, okay, now you can put this like this, and you would be able to press into it with your body. So in this regards, then it is much like the press. Go here like this. Try to then drive off your flakes.